Yo, people, what we saying is your boy Moozy13 back with another video. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. But you guys already know what we do on this channel. We're talking Arsenal. And the game finished Arsenal 1, Manchester City 1. Now, what do we take away from this game? First of all, I'm going to start with the lineup that Arsenal went with against Manchester City. And we went with Raya in goal, Timber right back, Saliba, Gabriel. So Saliba came back into the lineup. Calafiori at left back. We had Marino, Zubimendi, Rice, and Madueke, Gyökeres, Trossard. So a bit of a few surprises there. Well, Saliba isn't really a surprise. I expect him to come back in with the way Haaland started the season on form, so I knew Mascara was going to go to the bench. Trossard starting was a surprise. Nowhere in my mind did I think he was going to bring Trossard in. I thought if he was going to switch it up, maybe you bring Martinelli in because he came off the bench against Bilbao, did something different, got a goal and assist. Or if it wasn't Martinelli, be Eze on the left, but Eze wasn't there. He started Trossard, so that was interesting. He also went that midfield of Marinos, Mendy, and Rice again, which I kind of was hoping he wouldn't go with. I had a strong feeling he would go with it, just because of the way the season has been so far, and that's what he went with. And so we start with the first half. Well, yeah, it was a weird start to the game. Arsenal actually had a lot of possession. They were taking the game to Manchester City. You know, Man City were pinned back. They didn't really offer that much going forward. So it was a good or interesting 5 to 10 minutes to start the game. And then, boom. You just see early in the game, it was like nine minutes in. Arsenal attacking, attack breaks down, Manchester City get the ball, quick counter, Haaland actually feeds the ball to, I believe it was Reinders, and starts making the run from his half. Reinders carries the ball pretty much all the way to Arsenal's penalty box or close to the penalty box, plays in Haaland, one touch, drives in one-on-one with Raya and finishes it, and now we're 1-0, and you're thinking, okay, that good start to the half has just been ruined by a counterattack from Manchester City. We go again. And so the whole half was just Arsenal trying to probe and try something different, take the game to Manchester City. But it was very still. Like, there was no creativity in the midfield, no inventiveness. Who's creating the options? Who's creating the chances for, the forward line of Trossard, Gyökeres, and Madueke to do something and change the game? There was none of that. And you could tell that even Arteta himself believed that this was the case, because as soon as it was halftime, Arteta did what he normally never does. He made 2 changes at halftime. Madueke went off. I'm now hearing now that he did have an injury scare. There was a fear that he had an injury to his knee. I saw some rumors online saying it was an ACL injury, which since has been disproven, and a lot of people have come out and said it's not an ACL injury. It's just a fear that he might be out sidelines for a few weeks. So hopefully he's not out for too long. But Madueke came off. Saka, beautiful and much needed return back to Arsenal, and we've needed him for a while. So he's back in, and Eze also came on as well. So he makes those changes. Marino off for Eze, and Saka comes on for Madueke, and you're thinking, okay, now let's see what we can do. And the second half the start was way better. Like, you could see that the game was actually changing on its head. Arsenal were, taking more initiative, trying to create opportunities, create spaces. But one thing Manchester City did, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, I never really seen this before, but Man City played a deep block. Yes, a deep block. A Pep Guardiola team played a deep block. I don't know if you can even call it mid-block, but these guys sat in banks of 5, 5, and 0. And that was just how they decided to approach the game. They pretty much just sat back and tried to hit us on the counter. And they did have some success in some senses where there were a few openings where Doku, who also had a really nice game from their perspective, had a few inklings, openings that he could do something. He had this one chance where he was like one-on-one in a tight angle and just went wide across the post, so he couldn't finish it. He had another opportunity where he did like a nice bit of skill, played in Haaland in behind. Haaland one-on-one, should have done better. Raya made a good save as he cleared it, which was a weird clearance. It bounced off Rice, and for a second I was like, God, please don't be an own goal like this. But bounced off Rice for a corner for Man City, and we got away with that one. But the second half was just pretty much Arsenal trying to take the game to Man City. Man City were very resolute, played a very deep block. He also subbed off Haaland at the 75th minute. I was like, okay, like, what's happening there? Did he get an injury? Because he was pretty much their outlets. Where their outlets were Doku and Haaland, like the whole game. He took off Haaland, so I was like, okay. You can see he's going even more defensive than he normally does, and I was like, okay, this is good for us. Like, let's continue taking the initiative. Let's continue probing them. I've always felt like there was an opportunity for us to equalize in that game, and we just kept pushing and pushing. Arteta made a few more subs. He brought in Martinelli for Timber at right back, which I was like, okay. So now he's really going for it. Timber off. Now we're playing with 3 defenders, Martinelli on. And one thing I liked as well was when he was making those subs, he wasn't necessarily taking out other attackers. Like Gyökeres was staying on, Trossard was still on at the time. So he was just like, like, let's just go for it, like all out attack, which is what I liked. I definitely wish he went with that approach at the start as opposed to the more conservative approach he went with the Marino, Rice, Subimendi midfield. Let's just say it how it is. I don't want to see that. I want to see that experiment deaded, man. We've played against Liverpool. We've played against Manchester City with a very conservative approaches. And we've walked out of those 2 games with 1 point. Like, it's clearly not working. And Arteta even knows it's not working, because when have you ever seen Arteta make a halftime substitution? Like, he never does that. So him doing that is just pretty much further proof that he didn't believe that system was working out, because we have Newcastle next week and we're already 5 points behind Liverpool. That game is a must win. So if you go against Newcastle thinking you're gonna out physical them or play physicality, you're gonna lose. We saw what Barcelona did against Newcastle. You play Newcastle with football. What Pedri and De Jong did, playing some nice football. That is how you approach Newcastle. You take the game to them. You don't try and be midfielder Tonali, Guimaraes, and Joe Linton by physicality. You gotta approach it differently. So I really hope he switches up his approach in that sense. But anyway, back to this game. So he made those few attacking subs and we're attacking. 90th minute comes, Eze gets some space in the midfield, plays a beautiful one-time ball over the top for Martinelli, who makes a deep run. He's onside. Ake keeps him on, takes a touch. Donnarumma is kind of in no man's land. Like, where do I go? Do I commit? Do I not? And Martinelli chips him. Beautiful. And I'm just watching, agonizing, like, please go. And then he scores. And I was like, oh, okay, let's go. Like, beautiful. You got to go in this. I was thinking this game was you're going to slip away from us. We're going to lose it. So 1-1 at the time. I believe it was 93rd minute. So there was still like maybe 4 or 5 minutes to go. There were like some VAR checks. VAR always trying to find a way to count out a goal against Arsenal. But thankfully the goal stood and it was 1-1. And I felt like we could have still like, maybe there was like maybe one more opportunity for us to like go ahead and win the game. But at the end of the day, like, I'm just looking at it from the point of view where it's like 1 point is better than none. Ideally, obviously, 3 points is what we wanted. And I feel like if Arteta took his approach more attacking or took it against City and just looked at how City have been defending for the last year or so, he would have seen that there was a game there to be won. So the game finished 1-1. Martinelli late equalizer, eventually penetrated the City deep block. So it was good to see that we made those attacking changes to take the game to them. But now I'm just hoping that moving forward next week, going into this week, play Port Vale on Wednesday, there's going to be a host of changes to that team. So I'm going to do a reaction or a preview to that game as well. And going to Newcastle on the weekend, that is a must-win game now. Liverpool have Crystal Palace away. You would expect them to win that game as well. They've been on fire to start the season. They've won all their games, so 5 games in the Premier League, 15 points. If they win that game, that's 18 points. We're still currently on 10, so we have to win that game to at least try and keep the gap as minimal as possible and just hope that we can kick the can down the line and hope Liverpool eventually drop points. But what do you guys think about the reaction? What do you guys think about the game in general? You guys let me know. Drop your comments below. And yeah, it's been your boy Moozy13. On to the next one, and I'm going to see you guys. Peace.